Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. My name's Jonathan.
And I'm Mike, and
You're
welcome
white?
to. I'm Mike. I was going to say, I'm welcome to this week's episode of.
I'm white.
I'm Mike. Welcome to this week's
Oh,
after show of Skeleton
we're
Crew
starting the
after
show out
show.
good. We're a couple professionals here. And hey, guess what? I'm white too. So there you go. In case
I'm
you don't
Mike.
know us, we are the Jedi Archives. We review comic books normally, but whenever a new Disney Plus Star Wars show comes out, we do after shows. And now we're doing the Skeleton Crew after show. Today we're doing episode 4. Mike, do you remember the title?
I sure
read it.
do. It's Can't Say I Remember No at Atten.
Can't say I remember no at Atten. Which was kind of a giveaway, kind of, when he said it again, but we'll get to that.
Literally, can't say
Yeah.
I remember no at Atten. So he was giving it away from the beginning. If you were paying attention.
once he repeated himself like the third time, I was like, wait a minute,
Can't say I can remember no at Atten.
this is fishy.
Yeah, so this episode opens with our hero's ship, the Onyx Cinder, coming out of hyperspace, and they've made it back to Atten, right? And but it's a little different because they're coming through the barrier, but it's like in tatters, so it's kind of weird. It's like in pieces. Jod is in disbelief that the planet's riches are real, and Wim's upset that they made it home so easily. You know, he's kind of like bummed out.
I was too. I'm like, this was a weird series. I was promised they'd be lost in space. It got me. I'm like, oh, they're there. Oh, that's really like, I guess we're doing something else. But when they landed, it's like, oh, okay, it's just a copy of that planet that obviously failed. So
yeah, and then I thought it was going to be time travel because
that never crossed my mind.
yeah, I thought
that would have
it
been
was
a
like in the
trip,
future.
man.
I thought they got there like in the future because the trees had grown through the houses. I'm like, oh wait a minte, it's like 100 years later. Rip Van Winkle, you know.
It's especially when you start talking about space. I mean, time's different in space. Interstellar is a great example.
Right,
It
right.
could be
And if
something like that.
if they're going light speed, you know, you never know.
Yeah.
So they might have time traveled.
That's something we
Yeah,
really haven't
so
touched in
he's
Star
upset.
Wars. Yeah, I'd be upset too.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
thinking I'm home. Honestly, now that I think of it, if I was them and I landed, I might have thought, I was like, what happened? Like, did something happen, like time travel or some disaster?
Mhm.
But yeah, especially since it
Yeah.
looks like home.
hmm And then they jinx the whole thing as the ship begins to dive, right? And then Smeed takes over. He's like, oh, it's on automatic pilot, automatic
Which
landing.
that was an odd sequence. Do you think that meant something, or is that just they wanted to add that in there? To me, it was very purposeful to have the ship like do that, and then just take it out. I don't understand why they added that, unless like something like the ship's been there a lot and it knows where to go. Like a certain port always lands and it hits automatic. So maybe it's foreshadowing something, because it almost needs to be foreshadowing something, or else that was just kind of like a waste of time. Thank you for bringing that
I
up.
think definitely that ship was meant to be. It was programmed to be landing on those planets. It was pre-programmed. So
And
definitely
the specific, which I think, like I said, the foreshadowing. When they get to a certain planet, they're gonna let the autopilot land and take them to like a cache or a certain bunker or something, hideout, whatever you call it, whatever pirates' layers are. A layer.
Well, I don't think they're actually pirates. I think pirates might have taken over whoever was supposed to be on the ship.
Oh, okay.
I think whoever was supposed to be on I think because pirates take over other people's ships, and so I think whoever was on the ship originally had it pre-programmed, and the pirates took over, and then that's what happened. That's what I think. So my 2 cents.
I think it's definitely foreshadowing something.
Yeah. So then the droid takes over and he brings it in a smooth landing, and then they see the playground's like a mess. But it's foggy and desolate, and it doesn't look at all like the weather on Atten. And then the droid says something. It's like, oh yeah, you know, I remember it's at Akron, right? It's like, wait a minute, not at Atten.
Yeah.
And he starts to like remember stuff, and he like bumps back to himself, like, oh, I don't remember no Atten. Like, wait, you just said.
That is immediately. I'm like, all right, something's funny.
Something's
And
fishy.
he even
Yeah,
said something like my memory circuits for remembering or something like that. I'm like, all right, something is there but hidden. Yeah.
yeah. And then we hear explosions too. That's kind of cool, right? And then Jod remarks that the air tastes like his ashy dust that reminds him of his home. So he's from somewhere that's similar to that. The kids run off to check on the nearby structure, and they leave Jod with SM-33, and they say, "Hey, you need to babysit him, right?" They call him the baby, and it's funny how he keeps calling him the baby. He's like,
Yeah.
"Baby," it's so funny.
Which
He's
I
like,
thought was honestly odd. If you have an adult there who can use the force, you land on a planet, you don't really know what's going on. Wouldn't you want to take your only muscle or one of? I guess you have two muscles, the robot and him. Wouldn't you want to take one of them? I thought that was very interesting.
but not if you think you're home, right? If
I
you think
guess,
you're
yeah,
home,
yeah,
because you know you're home, you're going to see your family. You don't want these strangers.
yeah. I guess I was like thinking immediately like something's wrong, but they probably weren't.
Yeah. No, they think they're home, so they're like, "Wait a minute, what's off here?" But I'm home. Um, and then back on the ship, so they get back, and the kids run off to check the nearby structure. They leave Jod with SM-33, and they see a place that looks like their home, so it's similar to their structures, but it's been run down and overrun with plants. So these trees have grown through the floor of their home structures, and then they try to find someone. They're like, "Wait a minute, this isn't at Atten. It looks like Atten, but maybe it's one of the other jewels of the Republic that Kim had told them about. Remember, there are other planets, but
Old
the only one
Republic. I went
of
back and watched. It said Jewels of the Old Republic. I didn't
right,
catch
jewels
that
of
the
the
first time.
that's right, jewels of the
So
old
yeah,
Republic. Right, right. Back on the ship, Jod's rummaging through the kids' bags, right? Because he's of course a thief, and he finds Wim's credits, which he's of course going to steal. Um, Reminder from episode 2 of Way Way Past the Barrier, and these are the old Republic credits that are in mint condition, and he bites them just to make sure they're real, which is what all pirates do, right? Check
yeah,
them. I don't know why, and that's just his lunch money. But of course, to him, they're like treasure.
yeah.
So it's a small fortune. So SM-33 snags him, stealing the treasure, and he slams him against the wall, screaming, "Thief!" However, Jod then quickly talks him down, and Smee apologizes, saying, "Oh, at Akron is playing tricks on my memory circuits," right? He's talking all piratey. Then he confirms that this planet is at Akron, not the home of at Atten. So then
Yeah.
Smee once again says he can't remember where this sought after destination is, and Jod wants to try and jog his memory again. And then as the kids are exploring, they come across a broken statue missing its head, right? In the middle of the town square. And they wonder about who it could be. But then they're suddenly surrounded by people with masks. And I right away thought about the Nile, right? Because they had the masks all over them, like, oh, it's like the Nile. Um, and
I
then
thought
the
more of Nephris Nest Gang. Is that her name?
Enfys
Nephris
Nest.
Enfys
Enfys
Nest.
Nest, yeah.
That's what I kind of thought. Yeah.
Because it was the girl. Yeah, that's true. But I thought the Nile, how they were recruiting kids and kidnapping them and incorporating them. Then the
Yeah.
teen says that they're the Troik, and she has a French accent, just like the Twi'leks do, and they need to get away from the Hatton Patrol. There's an explosion nearby, and then the teen leads them somewhere to hide, and she's pretty cool, right? So they're impressed by her, so they go with her, and then Wim's really excited, to see her, how she's so smooth, and she's pretty cool, right? She's just a kid,
Yeah.
but she's pretty
She he's
pretty awesome.
she is what he wants to be. A kid having his
Absolutely.
adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Wim for sure.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
even Neil's turned on too.
For other reasons. We
Well,
know why
yeah,
Neil is.
his little trunk's like all over the
his,
place, right?
his little drunk.
So the Hat Patrol marches by, complete with a big massive tank, and they're heard of Eopes. Mm,
Those are the same Eopies from episode 1, so it's pretty cool.
cool. A
Yeah.
little bit different because they're
Oh, they were?
smaller. Well, because Eopes in episode 1 were larger, so they are like Eopes, but like a smaller version of them. Oh, that's Luke.
I know. Stupid.
He's so cute. Uh, and once they pass the Troik, they agree to take our friends somewhere safe, right? So they take them with them to to their home base.
Honestly, that scene to me was a little odd because they just found these people. They don't know anything. Like they could be spies. Oh, let's go to our base. I
They're
thought that was a little,
off-worlders.
almost a little too easy. Like,
Well,
but
I
that's
I
just
was worried too. I was
yeah,
like, wait a minute, why would they even go with them? I'd be
yeah.
suspicious too.
Well, I wouldn't take them if I was them. I would like maybe blindfold them or something. But like now they just took them straight into the middle of their base. I'm like, oh, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't
Yeah.
go. I wouldn't go. I'd want to
Yeah.
go back to my ship.
Yeah.
Uh, so the group runs through. They move through the ruins of the destroyed world, right? Because it's all like in tatters, with the buildings and cities wrecked from the fighting. And they come up to this building that Wim recognizes is just like their school back home. So
Yeah.
they're living inside this destroyed school, and inside there's a small market with a gathering of people. And then the teen tells the leader, who's her father, that she found their stolen Eopies with the Hattons, right? And here the kids are introduced to General Strix, the head of the Troik warriors, and the one true ruler of at Akron, right? And he explains that this world treats children as adults, like his daughter, um, what's her name, Haina,
Yeah.
one of the masked kids, and he welcomes them as soldiers. And then Fern asks for directions, and Strix explains that they only concern themselves with the off-worlders to trade with them for weapons. So they've had off-worlders come to their planet, which so their planet's no longer protected by the
Barrier.
the barrier, because the barrier
Yeah.
we saw was all destroyed. So off-worlders come to their planet and leave, but they only worry about trading with them for weapons. They don't care to leave because they don't even want their ship. They just want to stay there.
Yeah.
They don't even care to get off
Which
the planet.
yeah, all this is. We'll get to it when they find the other ship, but it's confusing to me. Like I don't quite understand what's going on. So
Hmm. And then meaning that this planet, like Adatin, does know about the outside galaxy, so they do know about them. Um, and Haina brings up a place called the Fallen Sanctum, where they do have something like star maps that might be able to help them, but the father doesn't want to tell them about it. Um, but apparently, they have planet coordinates carved in the walls there that might be able to help them. And so then the father says, "Well, you know what? It's too dangerous, but if you help us, then if you prove yourself worthy, then we'll help you, let you see the coordinates, right?" So Strix says it's too dangerous, but he makes a deal. So if they train as warriors and they help him, then he'll decide if they can go or not. So back on the Onyx Cinder, Jod leads Smee outside to try and jog the old droid's memory of At-Atin. However, all that Smee can remember is that the planet that they're on now and a bunch of warriors, right? Which happens to be surrounding them right now as the Hattons find them. And Jod says, "Oh, just shoot me now," and that was super funny. He just like surrenders. And then that's the end of that. That was a really quick scene. That was pretty funny. And then we swipe right back to our young heroes, and Neil doesn't want to train with the others. But the other ones, I mean, Wim especially loves having the guns, right? It's all
yeah,
shooting. And then surprisingly enough, the best shot is KB with her implants, right?
yeah, brand new toy.
Uh, it looks
Just
like
got
he needs an implant too now.
bought it like 3 hours ago. Put a hole in the head. It's supposed to be like indestructible too. That's why I bought it.
Uh, so she takes him to the roof. Hana says that he's very wise, right? Because he doesn't wish to train. So she takes him to the roof where everyone lives, and then Neil asks about the war, which sounds like a generational feud going back and forth with the farmers attacking the herders. And Hana wants to be the one to lead her clan to victory. So she opens the dome of what looks to be an observatory, but reveals a massive gun the size of a ship, which keeps them safe, right? So that's what
Yeah,
protects them. Neil's upset
I'm
about the war. Uh-huh.
I'm glad they showed that gun because the whole reason like they're in a war zone, but then they literally have like a base that's to me is like that'd be easily attackable. So I'm glad they show that as a resistance for why enemies wouldn't attack that base. So I'm really am glad they showed that because it's obviously they're in like Mad Max territory. It'd be really hard to have a base.
Hmm.
So it does help. that was one thing that did help me understand some stuff a little bit more. But I still have a lot of questions about the civilization.
Well, because their civilization is in decay.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that gun helps keep them have a safe home. Because if
Right,
they
because they have the high
that
ground and they
gun
have that
wasn't there,
big gun.
that gun wasn't there. Like when as soon as I saw him, like how the hell these people live here when they're at war with somebody? Like that would be the first place I would attack. So it's just kind of like I'm glad they showed the big resistance, why it's the big security
Mhm.
guard. So,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Mhm. Yeah. And then Hinton explains that that's just their. Neil says that he's upset by the war, explaining that they have no fighting on that Atten, and that it's just peaceful there. And
she's
then
like,
Hayden
you must be like in a weak clan. He goes, yeah.
he says, "Yeah, we're weak." Hayden explains that this is just their way of life, that war is a part of that. And then Neil asks her if it will ever end, and if both sides will just keep raiding on each other. And he would just say sorry and work towards peace. Hannah looks like that's something. Hannah looks like that's something to consider, even if Neil comes from a weaker clan, right? So she thinks, well, maybe that's something that we might want to do. They return to the other kids' training, where Strick says that Fern will lead them all into battle, and she says no thanks, and he tells her that it's not a choice, that they're going to be forced to fight, right? And even though Fern appeared to be strong at the beginning, we always knew that it's kind of an act of hers to pretend to be
Yeah,
strong. But now
yeah,
she's being forced to,
yeah.
and she's like has no choice.
She's like,
So
no thanks. Like,
yeah, no thanks.
you don't have an option.
Yeah. So the group moves out into the city, and the kids are forced into being scouts with blasters pointed at them because deserters are shot, and they go into the battlefield. Neil gets scared, so Hannah chooses to accompany them because she likes Neil. And as they fearfully move forward, a cry comes out of the fog. Oh, one thing I thought that was really cool about this episode too is we saw a lot more aliens. We saw Ithorians. We saw like the Greedo. What are the Greedo species? The like Greedo. What are they called? Well, those aliens. Rhodians. Rhodians.
Roadies, yeah.
Yes, so we saw Ithorians. We saw Rhodians. We saw a lot more aliens
We
on.
saw the one with the face like that. I know we saw that one.
Mhm.
I saw a couple, yeah.
So a
I love
lot more.
aliens. I
Too. Me too. That was
bring
really
me
cool.
aliens, and I know we always want some new aliens, but I love traditional old school aliens. Bring me
Me
those all day
too.
long.
Me too. So that was really cool to see a bunch of the familiar aliens on this planet. Um, as they fearfully move forward, a cry comes out of the fog, and it's Jod and Smee who both return the Eopies. And the only payment they want in return is Wim, Fern, and Neil and KB to come back with them. And then uh, and
All
then
right,
Neil and
this
Wim.
this is where we need to discuss. They're in a dystopian world. It's like kill or be killed, and they're trading their livestock for Republic credits.
Two.
So I'm like, I like that. Honestly, I was like, that blew my mind. I'm like, what do they have use for Republic credits for? Livestock is worth so much more. And then why would they even bother trading with him? He literally put his hands on his head and said, "Shoot me now. Just take his credits. Take his ship." So that whole thing, I'm not buying. So I'm thinking maybe the robot went nuts and killed them all or something, and he just didn't want to tell them. I can't wrap my head around that scene, that explanation, because he literally gave up. They they don't need credits. They probably will. Let's take whatever you have. Honestly, they probably see the credits and toss them, and they probably want like parts of the ship, maybe the droid. But I'm not buying what. Oh, they wanted this for this. I did not buy that at all.
Well, Jod's not the most
Yeah, he's
reliable,
or
trustworthy
yeah, truth
individual.
teller. Yeah, he got to
Right,
say what he's got to say. So I
right.
don't buy that at
I
all. I'm
don't
like,
either. And
when he
it's very
said,
likely he like did some
yeah,
kind of like mind trick
mind
on
trick
them
or
anyway.
the droid. I mean, the droid kind of was whooping some tail over at the
Mm.
port, so maybe
Oh
he did the
yeah.
same thing. And
Oh
these people
yeah.
probably aren't nearly as armed as other pirates are, so they might not have stood a chance.
No
So it's
way.
just even just the fact is like, oh yeah, credits. I was like, what do they
Okay,
need
because look,
credits for?
between Smee and Jod, they would have like wiped the ground with
Yeah.
those.
So
You're
that
right.
makes
You're
way.
right.
I'm glad you agree because I'm not buying
No, I
they
agree with
need
you too.
credit.
I mean, and they
I
didn't
heard.
show. They didn't even show them.
Yeah,
They didn't
that's
show any
he
of
put
them.
his hands on his head. It's like he was giving up. So it was like, why would they barter with him at that point? At that
They
point,
wouldn't have
like,
bartered.
hey, anything you want?
And you
That's
know what? And that's a tactic. That's a tactic that my nephew says that because my nephew does he does wrestling and
yeah. Lull them
training.
into self. Like, was it false
What you do is
sense? Yeah,
you always say whoa whoa whoa, and you go like this, like to say, oh wait a minute, wait a minute. And when you do that, it's to
yeah,
actually to attack them. So you put
yeah.
your hands up like to pretend like you're gonna step back, but it's really
So
to do
maybe
the
we'll
attack.
find out. I kind of hope we do because that's another one that's just like that's what I was like. This I don't quite understand. If they really just wanted credits, them that's me head scratching my head. I'm just like, I don't get what they need credits for. They way would rather have the EOPs.
That's a story for another day.
It's a story for another. But I hope
Hmm.
we get it because it's
It'll be in a comic, John.
yeah. Well, I
So
just want them to say, "Did you kill them all?" And like, yeah, I did, or something like that.
that'll be in the Tales of Jod.
Well,
Of
he's got to do his hero's tale. Something's got to go wrong. He's got to betray the kids, break the kids' trust, and then he's got to come back and save the kids. He's got to
mhm.
have that moment, and I think maybe this leads to it or something. Because I'm sure the kids will be like, "You killed them all. You're a murderer," or something like that. So, but we'll
Yeah.
see. You betrayed us. Yeah, I think all that's coming down the road.
So then Neil and Wim hug Jod while the girls they thank him, making a scoundrel feel a bit uncomfortable with the warm and fuzzy feelings, right? Because I'm sure he doesn't really deserve all that praise. Because I'm sure, like you said, he did something
Yeah,
not so nice to get
yeah.
there. For proving their bravery, Hana agrees to take the group to the fallen sanctum. Because at first, he's going to let them go, but then she reminds her father, "Hey, they proved their worth. You promised them they get to see the sanctum for the star maps." While on the trip, Jod reveals that he took Wim's money to purchase the herd of Eopes from the Hattons, which is how he got free. And then Wim's upset because like, wait a minute, you stole my
Yeah,
credits,
you let me. You saved my life.
but you stole my
You took
credits.
my lunch money. You saved my life. Now, now I can't get a pizza. Like,
I know, but they can't linger on this as they've arrived to the sanctum, and this is the planet's version of the supervisor's tower on At Aten, where no one on the planet is allowed inside. So this is peeling back a layer of the onion because on their planet they also have this tower, but nobody can go
nobody's
in
allowed
there.
inside. So there's something in that
There's
tower.
something in that tower on every planet. So they're going to
Yeah.
figure out, hey, what's in there? So they're curious. Um, Against Neil's protest for her to join them, Hana says her goodbye. She can't leave her people, but she wants to remember Neil's way, saying, "My world could use some kindness." But she does give him a little kiss on the cheek before she runs off again. And that kiss was
Honest.
like,
It's really close to his trunk.
real. That's what I said too. I said it was really close to his trunk. And he was like, oh, he liked it. And I thought, Neil, what about that cute little girl that he was in
What
love
about
with?
Runa or whatever
Yeah,
her name is?
Rona. That's right. He
Rona.
was in love with Rona.
Hey, it doesn't take much.
I guess not. Well, he had never even spoke to her, so I guess it's
Yeah.
not really cheating. Uh,
All right. At this point, right before this, I'm already saying to myself, I don't really care for Hannah so much. I don't know. Maybe it's the acting is kind of seems a little odd to me, but she keeps doing the what's it called? Do you remember Book of Boba Fett? The modders. Remember the modder spin? There's a one scene they're fighting, and he
oh yeah,
needlessly spins and shoots.
she does a backflip. Yes. Mhm.
She's done this 2 times at this point. She's like running towards like a subway cart or something. Jumps and kicks the
A little
door. I'm like,
backflip. Yeah.
I already when she did, I was like, that was unnecessary. But then when they're in the little subway cart, she does like a slide 3 feet, and they zoomed in on it. I'm like, what was that? Already, I'm like thinking, why are they having to do all this parkour stuff? Really, I was like, that's kind of silly. I was like, you're literally just doing this so you can pay a stunt man because at this point, neither of them were needed. And then when he says bye to her, she just does this cartwheel flip. I'm
Yeah.
like, what is going on with this? I was like, on. No, what's funny? I was actually really trying to process this through my head. If that was Wim, he would 100% do that because he would be embracing that type of
Oh,
thing.
heck yeah, he
Wim
loves
would
that.
be, but she's serious. She's like this kill or be killed. She wouldn't be doing that. So that to me, that was like that wasn't necessary. It's very odd, and that's the exact thing of the modern spin that I just thought was cringy. Honestly, I'm like
Yeah.
that was odd. It's not needed. It's not hurting the episode at all for me, at all. I still love the show. It just that it made me not like her character. So one of the reasons why I don't like the mod is because that was ridiculous and unnecessary. Their whole
Mhm.
characters weren't necessary.
But you know
So
what, John? That goes to show what her personality is like. Because
it
it's kind
doesn't
of like.
reflect her personality at all. That's what I'm saying. Wim, I would see do that. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm just saying.
Mhm.
I tried to process. I'm like, Wim would do that because his personality would be embracing action, parkour, jumping around. Her, she's all serious, like we have to kill everyone, kill her because, and then she's doing these flips like a little child having fun. So I don't know. That was
Mm.
just odd, but it really kind of threw me for a loop. But like I said, it didn't affect me liking the show. But what it did is it made me kind of not like her character. So, but and I want to like her character. I really want to like everything about the show, but
Fair,
it
fair.
leads me a little bit to the point where I don't really get the whole point of this whole civilization little arc we ran into. It did build Wim's character, not Wim's, Neil's character,
Mhm.
but I really found like that was about it. Unless we have more stuff showing later, like more stuff about Jod and stuff having to do with maybe he murdered people or something. But
Mhm.
kind of like it kind of felt almost spinning their wheels. Let's show some aliens. Let's show some buildings. Yeah, so it was very interesting choices they made this episode, honestly. But
That's true. The other
yeah,
thing this episode also showed us is that um when when Kim told him that the only jewel of the old republic that existed, that they were all destroyed, was at Aten, it was partially incorrect because this planet still exists. It wasn't destroyed.
well, destroyed could mean other things. Like I mean, they pretty much are destroyed. Just it's physically there. I don't know.
No, it still exists.
Well, no, the it exists, but like I totaled my car. It exists, but it's totaled. So I think maybe thinking
No,
it's.
I mean, like,
I don't know if she meant because they didn't have planet destroying the vaporizing weapons yet until the Death Star
Algernon is destroyed.
because of the Death Star, but it was after. No, it was yeah. So I don't know if she means like that. She could just mean like Chernobyl is destroyed. So that's what
Hmm.
it could be either way. That's what I'm saying. I didn't want to in my mind, I didn't want to say vaporize. I'm thinking this could still be destroyed. I mean, there are civilizations pretty much destroyed.
Hmm.
So, and who
Well.
knows? They might be descendants of them, or they might not. They might be raiders that found this planet and just wanted to live there or
Hmm.
something. So, I don't know.
Interesting. Well, the group. Well, I still think that this planet is still similar to like the foundations of Adatin because you still had
Oh,
a
I think we're gonna see.
variety. You still had a variety of different like races. You still
Yeah,
had Athorians and different aliens on that one planet, just like on Adatin. So I think that all those jewels of the galaxy were like utopian societies,
yeah.
that
Well,
had a mix of all the aliens on one planet.
I was listening to someone talk about this, and they talk a lot about the murals. And there's like five people on the murals. And so people are thinking maybe those are like the five original planets that started the Republic. And each planet was like an Ithorian, the elephant race, and then you had like a couple human planets and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's a really cool idea to think. And maybe that's why their planet, everybody, because it's so isolated, it doesn't have that many alien species. It has those alien species, but not too many different ones. And then all the aliens speak basic because they've been on that planet so long together. They lost the other languages because normally they would speak other languages.
Right, right.
So I'm really intrigued of the history of this. It's really got me thinking. And
That's why no huts and no hutties.
yeah, but did you hear about uh Grogu and Boba Fett? The actor who got it was announced on Variety.
No.
So they the actor from the show The Bear, he is going to voice
Oh yes, Rot of the Hut.
Rod of the Hut.
Hmm.
Stinky the Hut is going to be in.
Little Stinky, yes.
So that's going to be pretty cool. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I was
I did
really,
hear that.
I heard that. And I was like, this is like a joke, right? I was like, but no. So I'm excited for that. We're going to have some Huts
Little
back. So
Stinky, yes.
yeah,
Good. I'm glad. I like Stinky.
yeah,
So then the group gets to the sanctum and they ride the elevator up to the top. And inside are these massive ruins with pillars that reveal the other planets like at A2, at Arisia, at Aravin, at Akota, with galactic coordinates on them. And then Neil finds at Aten. So all the original jewels of the old republic. However, the coordinates have been broken off of at Aten.
yeah. That was a cool scene. He goes, oh, this is it. Oh, they're gone. Who took them off? I
And
did.
Smee says, I did.
I was like, just blatantly, I did. It was me. Like, oh,
And then Fern runs to the window, and she's crying. That was sad.
yeah,
So Smee reveals why he's been saying the title of the episode, Can't Say I Remember No Ad Aten, the entire time. He's the one who broke off the coordinates the last time he was on this planet with his old captain. Fern is furious at this revelation and she runs off. KB wonders if they can repair Smee's memory. She goes, there's only like a million things, right? She's like,
yeah. She
I
said
can do it.
only.
Yeah, only like a million. I can do it,
There's only like a million circuits. I can be playing. I was like,
So Wim follows Fern, finding her crying by the window, and she admits that she has no idea what to do anymore. She's scared, but Wim admits that he wouldn't have gotten them this far as she did. He thinks she's amazing, and he believes in her, and that just makes her more mad because she can't magically figure it out. But maybe Wim's faith isn't misplaced because then Fern gets an idea. Droids do what they're told, and she realizes that he was ordered not to reveal Adat's locations. And as captain, she orders him to remember everything about their home. Smee then remembers saying how his previous captain murdered anyone who saw the coordinates to Aten. Then the droid was ordered that if anyone asked about the treasure planet, Smee is to murder them too.
to rip their limbs out. Yeah,
Limb by limb. Yes.
yeah.
He rises up ready to attack Fern and KB. Then Neil chucks a rock, brave little Neil, at the droid. And he's like the most fearful one. Before Smee can hurt the kid, Job slaps the droid's off switch.
Yeah.
And with Neil fainting from excitement, this is where Skeleton Crews episode 4, Can't Say I Remember No Ad Aten, comes to a close. So
Yeah. So what were your thoughts on the episode as a whole?
I really enjoyed this episode. I know a lot of people didn't like it because right after it it airs on Tuesdays and it's right during our happy hour. So we hop on happy hour just before, hop off, watch it, then hop back on to talk about it. And a lot of our friends didn't care for it, but I really liked it. Uh, I think the pacing's really good, consistently good in this show. The pacing's pretty. It's got great pacing throughout. The acting's really good. Just like you said, Jude Law's like spot on. He's
Oh my God, he's
great. He's
every,
fantastic.
every time I watch him, I start comparing him to like the best Star Wars actors. I'm like, who that actor? I mean, Ewan Gregor was really good. Carrie Fisher was really good. Harrison Ford, but I'm like, uh,
He's
Liam
really
Neal.
good.
Like it starts to the after the first couple ones, the actors kind of start to drop a little bit, and he's like up there with the best. I
He's
mean,
really good.
he could be like top 5 Star Wars actors. He's
He's really
really
good.
really good. So I'm really enjoying him so far.
Yeah, he's top notch. I mean, and you know what? The kids are good. The kids are really good child actors. They're holding their own for being child actors. They're really good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So far, it's been really, like I said, I didn't
You
like
know
the
what?
other girl so much this time, but the ones our
Look,
core four,
John,
I
John, but
like.
our core four,
Yeah.
they are no little Annie. They are much
Uh,
better than little Anakin Skywalkers.
oh, okay. I'm thinking Annie.
Little Anakin Skywalker,
Yeah.
not that he
They're
was bad, but
yeah.
come
Oh yeah.
on.
They're actors. They're definitely good. Yeah.
Yes, they're
They've
really
done a
good.
great job. They're very believable. I my I like the episode for the most part. I had a lot of questions about the civilizations, kind of wondering why they're introduced. To me, this question, I'm like, honestly, I would have been better if they would have landed on the planet and then a monster maybe chased them. That made Neil get his bravery.
Hmm.
This episode is all about Neil getting his bravery,
Well, but
developing his character.
Smee turned out to be like a monster.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, I love Star Wars monsters. I mean, you always
Oh,
gotta have
that's
Star
true.
Wars monsters. Yeah.
The spiders.
But
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand the civilization thing. I was like, just get off the planet. Take the ship, get off the planet.
Hmm.
Why live that life? So that was very interesting and odd for me, this civilization. But I mean, the story itself, I'm enjoying a lot. No problems. I love the what's going on with the story of that, and I'm kind of wondering what's next for them. Are they now that they have the coordinates for the other three planets? Are they going to go to those and kind of try and find more clues at Aten? Because what's next for them? Do they go back to Kim, or to me, I was kind of maybe the robot would let them tell them where to go, but then it's too easy. So I'm like, I think we might go to different planets or something
Well,
next.
they have the coordinates for the other planets, and all the other
Yeah,
planets have that tower too, a sanctum.
yeah.
So
So
maybe the other sanctums have the coordinates for Abaddon.
yeah. Well, that's what I also am interested. If maybe they go to the other planets, they let the autopilot take off or something.
Hmm.
Take them somewhere special, unique. So definitely excited to see where this is going. Excited to see the droid be more a part of them. So we'll see what happens once they fix his circuits. So we'll
Hmm.
see if he's a little more active with the group instead of just a babysitter. that could turn on them any moment.
Watch the
But
baby. Watch the baby.
yeah. So
And maybe they'll trust Jot a little bit more since he did rescue them,
yeah. But enjoying it.
even though he stole their lunch money.
Yeah. He gives them new lunch money every day. He took my lunch money. Like, saved your life. Kid, kids.
Balances out.
But yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed all the episodes, so it's like,
I have to.
yeah. So I
Well, we're
think most,
halfway. We're halfway done. So let's
yeah,
see.
yeah. Which
So,
I hate.
what
I
do you think's coming up next? Because
I
I think we're gonna go back to Ad-Atten because we still have to see what Wim's father and Fern's mother,
I
because
don't.
there in the previews we saw the two parents doing something
Yeah,
to
I don't
look for
think we
their
go
kids.
back to them till maybe the end of 6 or the beginning of 7. Uh, so I think 5's more adventure. Like I said, I think they go to another planet or something next issue. Next issue, we do too many comic books.
I know it's next episode,
Yeah,
but
next episode. I think that's what happens more. I did listen to some interviews from the Fox and Larry. I can't remember their names. Fox and Ford, right? The two showrunners. But they said their favorite episodes are 6 and 8, and so they said 8 because it all comes together, which is a cohesive story. There's not like, oh, the guy's traveling off to another universe, or we don't know what's happening with these guys. They said it all wraps up at the end, which is good. But they also said 6 is a really good one too.
mm-hmm,
So I think 6. That's what I'm saying. I think 6 they might make it home or something.
mm-hmm,
Where maybe I think maybe in 6 is where they reveal the secret of at Aden, that why it's hidden, what the treasure is. The treasure might not actually be credits. It could be something else. So we never know. So
mm-hmm.
because a currency is only valuable to its own civilization, kind of like, what's the point of having all that treasure if you're already there? You're not using it to buy stuff from other planets, so you still like it's kind of it, treasure doesn't mean anything if you already have it. So like to them, it's like, so I think
Mm-hmm.
something else is valuable there. So
Yep.
maybe they
Yep.
have kyber
Oh,
crystals or something.
guess what else I heard? I saw that the Star Tours 1000 was also at Port Borgo.
Really, I didn't hear that.
Yes, that if you look in the port, the Star Speeder 1000 was going through there,
That's
which
so
is pretty
cool.
cool.
What?
So,
Dude, these guys really like went through. It's like, where can we add something cool? Where can we add something
so
cool?
hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get some of that in our Star Tours
God,
when we
so
go.
that's two old school Disney things. I mean, Star Tours and then Captain EO. I'm like, that
Yeah,
those are deep cuts, and I love it.
awesome,
I,
awesome.
it's funny because I talk to people about those, and they're like, "What?" Like, it's like, "Oh, there's a teak." They're like, "What? Who cares?" There's a
Teak,
creature. There's a creature from
teak,
Captain EO. They're like, Captain
teak.
EO. I was
I
like,
love
"Oh,
teak. Teak, and
yeah,
also the little butterfly. What's his name?
yeah, the Captain EO." Yeah, I
What's
don't
his
know the
name?
name
The
of it.
little I do know his name. His name is in my notes.
Only one I remember is Hooter, because how can you forget Hooter?
He's got a little trunk.
Yeah,
I think this is young Hooter
I think Hooter maybe had like an acne problem or something.
because that was teenage Hooter.
Yeah, yeah, it's teenage Hooter.
This is Brutus. No, it's Borgo. It's when they get to Borgo. It's Fuzzball. Fuzzball is a little flying
Fuzzball.
thing.
Yeah.
Fuzzball.
Well, Fuzzball's put in Captain EO specifically to have something fly at you in 3D. I remember
Yes,
that because he was you
Fuzzball.
would always be like watching it. Yeah.
Yes, Fuzzball.
Because he didn't play like a musical instruments like all his other crew. One was like a drum, one turned into like a
Well,
guitar.
because remember,
Hooter played his nose.
Smee turned into the drum
Yeah, he
set,
started.
and Smee had one leg that was like a pirate leg.
Yeah, so he
That
started transform too. So
he turned into
yeah,
a drum set.
yeah.
So Smee is the one that turned into a drum set.
I don't remember what the robot droid looked like for Captain. I remember the
He
two
looked like
headed.
Smee. He looked like
Did he?
Smee. Yeah, he looked like Smee because one of his legs was like a pirate leg.
Was it? I
And he
remember the two
kicked it.
headed thing. I remember Hooter and Fuzzball and just a droid. I can't remember what the droid looked like, but
The droid looked like Smee.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's cool.
That was cool.
All right, let's pay some bills.
Oh
All
yeah.
right, is Hyperspace Props, the official sponsor of the Not So Virtual Cantina Special Edition in Japan.
We'll be there.
Pre Pre-order your credits at Cosplay Props at hyperspaceprops.com. Use code NSVCSE for 10% off. All right. What else we gotta do? What else? What else? Be sure you're following us on YouTube at Virtual Cantina Network, on Instagram at virtual.cantina network, on X at Cantina Virtual, on Threads at virtual.cantina network, on Hive at Virtual Cantina, and on TikTok at Virtual Cantina. And like the VCN Star Celebration Japan 2025 Facebook page. Please like, subscribe, and if you have anything to say, please comment. We didn't say where Bryce was. Fortunately, Bryce couldn't join us today, but he would love to hear your comments. He will be the first to reply. Promise
Yep.
me.
Shout out to our partner pages, Star Wars Book Nerds and Star Wars Comic Book Club.
And if you want more of this, they have a lot more reviews where we do tons of comic books. As I said before, they're on the YouTube page. And every week after the show, Friday mornings, we release our after show. So thank you for watching, and may the force be with you.
And Teak says hi.
This teak looks well fed and groomed and washed, and the other one had like mange or something.
Yeah, because this Teak is not on Borgo. This Teak
All
lives here.
right, bye.